Welcome to this Age of Empires 4 build order tutorial for the Japanese, and today we're going to go for a second town center opening. And so as usual, we queue up villages in our town center. We take our scout out and about to find as many sheep as possible. Now 4 of the starting 6 villages will go to build a forge, a farmhouse, and then go to stone. The other 2 remaining villages will go to food underneath the town center and take sheep, and then the next 3 villages from the town center will also come out to take food and to take the sheep. That will give you 5 villages on food and 4 villages on stone. Now you might be wondering, how comes we're going to stone so early? Well, for the Japanese, when you gather stone, you also gather gold and vice versa. So for every 10 stone you gather, you'll also gather 2 gold. And that's how we'll get to the next stage. To get to the next stage, the feudal age, you will need 400 food and 200 gold. And of course this build order will get you there. Now to get to that feudal age, we're actually going to go up with the Cura Storehouse landmark. That will be a great landmark because it will be giving you free farms. I mean, what's not to like about free farms? But also, you'll be then protecting those farms with your second town center and also protecting your other resources on the map. The second town center will be coming pretty quickly, but in any case, now that you've got 5 villages on food and 4 villages on stone, the next 1 villager coming from the town center will go to stone to make 5 on food and 5 on stone. After you've done that, the next 6 villagers will be coming from the town center to go to sheep. So it's important that you actually start to think about bringing some sheep back to the town center if you haven't already, because of course you don't want to run out. Also, just as a heads up, if you are a YouTube channel member or a Twitch subscriber, make sure that you do check Discord, and you can find the link to that in the video description. In any case, you've got the build order on the right of your screen, so hopefully that's pretty useful anyway. So, now that we've got some time to talk about the build, when we do get to that feudal age, there are 2 particular upgrades that we will be focusing on getting, and that revolves around the farmhouse. In the farmhouse, you can have what I call baby wheelbarrow upgrades. The reason why I say that is because most other civilizations have, in their mill, they have wheelbarrow as an upgrade. However, the Japanese have 2 different ones that are named obviously differently, but they have very similar sort of bonuses for the civilization when you research it. They're called Tawara and Takizaiku. So they're very important to get in the feudal age, and they're pretty well affordable as well. Now, if you are also under a lot of pressure in the feudal age, the second town center placement will be important. So we're going to be thinking about ideally securing the gold vein and wood, or wood and berries. Ideally you want to secure 2 resources at the same time if you can. That's probably the most ideal. If however that doesn't feel enough, you can actually build an outpost and get arrow slits, because you will have some stone left over in order to do so. Now speaking of stone, you will also consider getting the daimyo manor upgrade for your town center. The second town center is usually the one you go for, and that would be pretty useful, but that's later on in the game. I just thought I'd mention it because it's something quite unique to the Japanese. In any case, when you do get that second town center up, the next focus will be getting a production building, and I'll even show you a breakdown of the villager counts that you need on which resource in order to maintain constant production of whichever army that you're choosing. Usually though, we'll be probably focusing on the barracks and the archery range units. Now, as you can see, we're going to be going to the next stage. Now that we've got 11 villagers on food and 5 villagers on stone, we're going to be peeling away those 5 villagers off of stone once we've reached 200 gold, and they're going to be building your landmark, the Cura Storehouse. Now when you build it, make sure you have at least 2 tiles between the landmark and your town center, because of course you want to fit the farms around it. Now, as you can see, we're going to be placing our Cura Storehouse there. You can usually often try and get the Cura Storehouse in the southeast border of your town center. That's probably the most protected. But if you think you can actually sandwich your landmark between your 2 town centers, that's also incredibly useful. Now, once you have started to build the foundations of your landmark, you will want to take all the villages apart from 4 from food to go to the straggler tree. Then also, the new villagers from the town center will go to the straggler trees. Essentially, you want to gather as much wood as you possibly can. You will also want to take a villager to build a farmhouse so that you don't get population capped, and then obviously bring sheep back to the town center. At this point you want to find out what your opponent is up to as well, so make sure your scout is in position to find out what your opponent is up to. Now you should be getting to the next stage pretty soon, so gear up and think about where you're going to be placing your second town center. In this case we're going to be placing on the wood line and the gold, and actually kind of protect our farmhouse somewhat as well. When we do get to the next stage, the way it's going to work is we take all the villagers apart from 4 from our town center that are taking food. Every other villager will be actually building that second town center. And then we're going to be getting the new villages from the town center to go to food, because we're going to be aiming to get 8 on food at the very least. That's the minimum number of villages you need on food to maintain 2 town center production. And so, as you can see, now we're going to be placing our second town center. And we're just going to take the villages off of wood as we possibly can. It's a bit of delayed there, but it's just for demonstration purposes here. So it's a pretty solid build if you can just, make sure everything's quite clean and smooth with that. Now, as you can see, new villages from the town center will go to food. We'll also want to place some villages on the farms that are now coming out for free from the Cura storehouse. What happens from here is that we will actually be building a forge on gold, because we're going to be taking 5 of the building villages of our second town center to go to gold. And then essentially we'll be aiming for 8 on food and 5 on gold. Then we'll be essentially getting all the other villages to go out to wood, because we want to get production buildings. Once we've got 2 production buildings, whether it's a barracks or an archery range or a double barracks or stable or whatever you want to get, make sure you've got at least 2 production buildings, and then that's when you want to consider balancing your economy. Stay with 5 villages on gold, because as soon as you can afford it, you will be getting the Tawara and the Takizaiku upgrade, and also think about getting double broadaxe. But here's a breakdown of the villager counts you need on which resource if you're going for different army compositions. I actually really like getting barracks and archery units, especially the Onobugeisha and the Yumi Ashigaru, because they're very fast and mobile units. But of course it depends on the matchup. Adding some samurai is not a bad idea, and obviously you've got some villages on gold to be able to fund that anyway. In any case, from here on in, it's about making sure you're defending, and you may even need to consider going back on stone for the daimyo mana upgrade for your town centers, and make sure that your opponent isn't going to kill you in the next 5-10 minutes, so that you can make sure those villages that you're getting actually fuel your economy into a military force for the Japanese that hopefully wins you the game. Now, if your opponent's being very passive, you might even consider going for a fast castle. Essentially, just prioritize getting villagers on food and gold and make your way up. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this build order tutorial for the Japanese. If you did, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, because it really helps the channel. Take care and see you next time.